The year Universal Century 0087, a rogue team of Federation soldiers called the Titans is attempting to take control of the entire Earth sphere. Facing this insurrection stands the Anti-Earth Union group with the latest and most innovative mobile suit. This is the Zeta Gundam. One of my favorite mobile suits of the Gundam franchise has to be the Zeta, the first transformable mobile suit of the series, along with being the first one to not have the mask vents, something that is now a staple of what stylistically defines a Gundam. Now, contrary to popular belief, the original Zeta is not as angular and slim as we remember. In fact, it has quite a robust and stern face and bulky arms and legs. This is the entire thesis of the newest Katoki design to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the Ver Ka line, and, if you ask me, the best version of the Zeta to date. The Zeta Gundam has a very interesting story, considering that it appeared more or less midway through the story. So, we first had the Mark II, then the Yakushiki, which was almost the titular mobile suit design, and then Camille's Zeta. Now, over the years, the Zeta silhouette gradually began slimming down thanks in part to original designer Kazumi Fujita's newer portrayals of his design. But according to Mr. Hajime Katoki, many people tend to think that the Zeta Gundam has a sleek silhouette with a small head and body, but this seems to be a misconception. Although it has paper-like sharp linear elements, its hands are large like classic robots and its head and shoes are large, resulting in a bulky silhouette. With that reasoning in mind, Katoki, instead of completely redesigning the robot, went ahead and chose the route to design the most faithful version of the Zeta according to the original TV series. Now, I won't lie. Before I built it, and as soon as the news that the 20th anniversary Ver Ka design was going to be the Zeta, I was quite underwhelmed. I really thought that it was going to be the Xi Gundam, considering that not that long ago Hadaway's movie came out. Also, I had already built the 2.0 version of Camille's mobile suit. I mean, I am a fan of the Zeta, but I thought that the 2.0 was okay. Not the worst, but let's say that its age is definitely showing. But I obviously still got the Ver Ka, built it, and my friends, let me tell you, the quality and precision of the engineering behind the new Master Grade Zeta version Katoki is astounding. No part feels loose nor prone to breakage. Everything is as stable as it gets. And this is a fully transformable model kit, so that's quite a feat. Part of what makes the Zeta Gundam such a fantastic mobile suit is precisely its transformation, and no other Zeta feels as sturdy and as safe as the Ver Ka. I like a lot the impracticality of the transformation, how the legs need to bend in weird ways and the wings need to move from the back to the front and twist again so that the flight mode more or less begins to resemble an aircraft. It's charming and enchanting in its own weird 80s mecha boom way. Oh, and I'm sorry, it's not called flight mode, it's called Wave Rider mode. And considering that it was this mode the one that defeated the leader of the Titans, it deserves much more respect. Let's proceed and answer what makes the Zeta Gundam the Zeta Gundam. Starting with the head, the Zeta was the first Gundam to have a double beefing antenna and, more importantly, to not feature the nose vents. And if you look closely, it's a bulky head with a very stern look. It even has a very prominent jawline, with a chin that makes the face look even more elongated. Moving down a little bit, the other thing that immediately pops out is the fact that this new protagonist mobile suit has a lot of blue in its color scheme. The shoulders, chest, and even part of the arms are blue, whereas the RX-78-2 only had it in the chest. Something interesting that appears in this design are the silver vortex generators and yellow vents that break the monotonous blue color. Also, in stark contrast to everything else, in the dead center we have the cockpit in a bright red color that matches in hue and almost in geometry the frontal guard of the B fins. And in a very conscious choice, there's also some red parts in the side of the forearms, and that little tiny detail brings together the whole front part of the torso. Because yes, this is a transformable mobile suit and the whole backpack consists of retracted black wings with a red lining and also a single tail fin stabilizer in the center of the back. In mobile suit mode, those red lines don't really do much, yet when in Wave Rider mode, we can definitely see that those lines combine with the shield and cockpit to give the Zeta a very fierce red outline. Moving on, the waist and legs stand mostly in white with a few details in blue and even fewer in yellow. We can't really tell by its looks, but the waist mechanism houses a very complex system of moving parts and locks that enable a very graceful transformation. Finally, the lower parts of the legs are, in something directly opposed to human anatomy, much more thick and full of moving parts, since this is the place where the Wave Rider thrusters or verniers are stored. And last but not least, the Zeta has red soles and a somewhat high heel. This may seem inconsequential in mobile suit mode, but as I said before, in Wave Rider mode, those red parts complete the design and make it much more cohesive. Speaking of the Wave Rider mode, I think that it is an acquired taste. It may not be as seamless and sleek as the Valkyries from Macross, but I like it a lot. It's super weird, and aside from the backward vent legs, you can't really tell that there's a robot hiding in that structure. The beam rifle also completes the look of a very futuristic and avant-garde plane fighter. Speaking specifically of the Ver Ka, this figure also added the landing gears and the slight curve in the wings that we saw in the series. Having said that, I won't lie, it's not easy to transform. Well, let me rephrase it. It is a very simple transformation that involves a lot of moving parts that stay unlocked for various steps of the way, so it becomes a little bit complex, but never so messy that you want to throw away the kit. In essence, it's not hard, but it requires patience, and if you follow the instructions of the manual, you'll be able to transform it without a doubt. Something that was heavily criticized was the fact that the previous Zeta, the 2.0, came with a lot of accessories ranging from the standard beam sabers to even a complete base. The Ver Ka is a little bit more limited in that area, considering that it only comes with beam sabers, beam rifle, grenade launchers, a shield, extra half hands, and some base adapters. We also have a spare B-fin, but that's it. Is it enough? Yes. Is it also the bare minimum? Also yes. Will the Hyper Mega Launcher be released as an extra add-on purchased separately? That will mostly be the case. I don't really like talking about articulation of a figure. Why? Because I think it's boring to see the figure being moved around without any purpose. I believe that knowing the total articulation of a given joint is useless when seen apart from the whole figure. Even worse, when such degrees of joint freedom don't deliver a good or cool pose. What's the use of a full split if I'm never posing my figure like that? That's why I'm going to refer to this section of the video as functional articulation. Can the figure move well enough to replicate some of its most iconic looks? Well, that's what we're here to find out. The only caveat is that since my figure's soul is weighed down by gravity, I'll test the functional articulation with an action base. Now, the Zeta doesn't have that many iconic dynamic poses, so let's try the one from the opening. Considering that in our universe the laws of physics are very rigid regarding hard materials, I'll have to say that this version of the Zeta moves in an incredible way. In fact, I won't even add the famous "for a transformable model kit" disclaimer. It really can pose as well as the mecha from the TV show. But you tell me, were my poses throughout the review convincing enough? And just remember that there are some poses that look better in one angle, so I tried my best to tweak them just enough so that they looked well in all angles. I hesitated months and months in doing this review since mostly I don't like watching Gunpla reviewers. Reason being that not only do I want to know about the model kit, I would also like to know about the lore of the mecha and, if possible, the real-life story of the model kit. Was it hard to build? Should I be careful with certain parts? Things like that. I also don't like watching the build by itself. I find that very boring. So after many days of thinking about it and promising in other videos that I was going to talk about mechanical design via model kits, I decided that I should restart my model kit reviews with something that I would definitely watch if it was being made by somebody else. And as you may have already seen, I decided to start with the in-universe story and specs of the Zeta Gundam and then proceeded with some of the real-life story. Previously, I thought that the figure should speak for itself. That's why I didn't do a voiceover for the YF-19, but now I know better. Anyway, let me know in the comment section if you like this style of reviews that isn't quite a model kit review nor a mecha design analysis. It's mostly something in between. Also, by all means, leave your suggestions of posing and anything else that you may think of. And as you may or may not know, my name is Absa and we can continue the conversation over at Twitter, where you can follow me at Absa, and on Instagram, where I post pictures of my figures, my cats, and sometimes even myself. Till next time, always remember that in fiction lies power, so let's use it to forge a new type of story, our hero's journey.